So you're doing SEO for your own business. You're learning SEO, watching the YouTube videos, following the guides, but for some reason, you're still not ranking as well as you should in Google. Well, that's what was going on with Adam, who left a comment on my last video asking if I could audit his site as well. And so that's what we're going to be digging into in this video. Adam has been following all the SEO advice you'd find online, and he's still not ranking. So why is that? We're going to find out. So this is Adam's company, Mighton Construction Limited, and this is his website. Here's his homepage. He's a custom home builder, a general contractor. He does renovations. And as you can see, he's put a lot of work into his website. They just migrated to WordPress, which we love, and they're following all the SEO advice. They got the FAQs on here. They got a page for each service. They're listing all their service areas, everything you might hear an SEO tell you to do. And overall, Adam, I just want to say you're doing a lot more right than you're doing wrong. And if you're in Adam's boat and you're doing all this and you're not seeing results, the first question you should ask yourself is, how long has it been? Okay, if you've only been doing this for 2 or 3 months and you're not seeing traffic, just give it some time, okay? SEO takes some time. And looking at Adam's traffic, he is starting to gain some traction. So it is working. But there's a lot of things he could be doing better and probably some quick wins that we're going to go over. By the way, if you would like me to look at your business's website and you don't mind me making a YouTube video out of it, let me know in the comments. That's why I'm doing this video. Adam asked me to. If you ask me to, I'll do it. I really will. All right, back to the video. So we are going to look at the website, but first I want to talk about his Google business profile, because almost always this is where you're going to get the quickest and easiest wins in ranking. And if you are a local business, this is what people are going to see first. When you do a search for a local service business in Google, like general contractor near me, the first thing Google's going to show you is this local pack, which are going to be the first 3 businesses listed in Google Maps. And so this is where most people are going to find you and why it makes sense to work on your Google business profile before you worry about your website. That being said, things you do on your website and off your website can also help you show up in Google Maps, and we'll go over all of that, but there's usually some quick wins right here. So let's take a look at Mighton Construction's opportunities. So I went ahead and threw Mighton into BrightLocal, which is the software we use for monitoring local rankings and citations, which we'll talk about in a second. And what this allows us to do is see where Mighton is ranking based on the location of the searcher. So this is a map around Wasaga Beach, where Mighton is located in Canada. And you can see where he's ranking based on where a searcher is standing when they search for them in Google Maps. As you can see, if they're right next to Mighton, they're currently ranked 5, and then it usually drops off as you get further away, as you're seeing here. This is for the term general contractor. Now, fortunately for Mighton, they are ranking a bit better for some other terms. You can see, for example, custom home builder, which I happen to know is Adam's primary term, the term he most wants to rank for. They are an average of 5.1. And that might sound pretty low, but it's actually not too bad. As you can see, he's ranked 2 right next to the business, but then it quickly drops off. So who's outranking him in this area? Well, we got a few competitors here. So here you can see in this area, Mighton Construction is the 4th highest ranked company. AA Custom Homes is actually completely dominating in the area. They're rank 1 for this entire area. Now, we could have looked at a wider area for rankings, and eventually that's what you'll want to do. But you want to own your own backyard first. You want to start right near your location because Google prioritizes proximity. If someone's searching for a service like you, Google wants to show them someone who is near them. And so it's very easy to rank right around your business. And then as you grow and you get more authority, then you can get more ambitious and expand outwards. The next thing I want to highlight is that all of these companies have the primary category custom home builder. So it would be very hard to rank in the top 10 if you didn't have that primary category. One has home builder, but that's pretty close. So that primary category carries a lot of weight. What's especially interesting about this search specifically is that there are very few reviews to the top ranking Google business profiles. Usually we would see a lot more reviews, and maybe it's just a thing about general contractors. You don't do a lot of work, and so it's hard to get reviews. But you can see there's not a lot of reviews on the competitors that you're trying to beat. Now, I would like to point out that the top 2 competitors have 10 reviews. And Sterling Sky, another agency, did a study that showed that Google does something at 10 reviews. It's like once you hit that 10 review mark, Google's suddenly like, okay, we can trust this company. There's something magic about 10 and maybe again at 100. But really, you're just one away. Get one more review and you might see a bump up in ranking right there. Another thing to point out is authority. This is very low authority for such a typically competitive keyword. Now, what does authority mean? This is a rough number. It's not a Google number. It's just this software's guess about how authoritative the website is in Google's eyes based on the number of links pointing to the website, but also the quality of those links. So it's a very rough number, and it's not precise at all. This is not scientific, but it gives you some idea of how many other websites are linking to this website. And that is a very important factor in Google. And we'll talk more about backlinks in a little bit. But the number one thing I'm noticing from these rankings is that Miton is the first company in the list to not have custom homes in their business title. Custom Home Builder, Custom Home Inc., and then we have Miton Construction Limited. That might not seem like a big deal, but Google's algorithm's still not very good at understanding if someone is searching for a business name or a term. And so if you type custom homes or custom home builder or custom home contractor into Google, Google's thinking maybe they're looking for the general term, but maybe they're looking for a specific business. So I should probably also show some businesses that have names similar to that. So having a search term in your business title can actually help a lot. It doesn't help quite as much as it used to, and there will probably come a day where it doesn't work anymore, but it still helps a lot right now. Now, I should say this technically breaks Google's terms of service. You could have your listing suspended, which would be terrible, but I've changed the names of thousands of businesses now, and I've never seen one get suspended. Google has a very soft touch on this. So we recommend to most of our clients, you might as well go ahead and add one search term. Now, you'll see some like Oaklea Homes, Custom Homes and Cottages. This one actually isn't too bad. And maybe it's a Canada thing. Maybe you guys are just too nice to do this. But here in the States, we like to shove a bunch of search terms in the titles. I say we don't do this. We usually pick one or two. And the key is to make it sound like it's part of your business name, so you're less likely to get flagged. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few of the other keywords in Google Maps. Let's look at kitchen renovation. If we come down here, we'll see that most of these are in the primary category general contractor, but we do have one in the kitchen remodeler. So not a lot of people are going to target kitchen remodeling as their main keyword. Typically, this is going to be a general contractor that has a lot of services, but that does bring up a very important opportunity that if you are willing to niche down, like Collingwood Kitchen is, then you can very easily start to rank for those search terms. When everyone else is going for the big terms, general contractor and custom home builder, you can find the one that no one else is competing for. Maybe they just have a small page on their website about it, but it's not their main keyword. Put that in your business name, put the city name in your business name here, put it as your primary category, and now you're competing against essentially no one. Now, the fact that two companies are still beating them for this without targeting kitchen remodeler as their main term shows how much authority these two companies have in Google, but that is an option to consider. If you're just starting out and you don't think you're going to be a big company that can compete with the other players, pick a smaller niche. Pick one thing that no one else is going for. Now, Miton is the only business here in the custom home builder primary category, and they don't have renovation in their name like a lot of these businesses do. And those two factors could be hurting them here. Google might just prefer the general contractor or remodeler primary category, but that doesn't mean that Miton should be changing anything here. You can't win all the keywords all the time, and their most important keyword is custom home builder. So they're in the right category. This might just be one of those keywords they have to give up on until they have more authority. And we'll talk about authority a little bit later. And then similar to custom home builders, for general contractor, almost all the top ranking businesses are in the general contractor primary category, and a lot of them, this one's just called the general contractor. That's a cheat code right there. If you're ever going to name your business, just picking your main service name as the name of your business is an easy way to rank higher. You got to balance that with branding, I guess, but that's one way to do it. And a lot of them just have contractor or contracting in their name. So that is an uphill battle. It doesn't mean you can't beat them. If you have enough authority, if you have enough links, if you have enough reviews, you could still rank higher than these people who have very optimized names and primary categories. But in the short term, you should focus on keywords that you can rank for now. Start getting some traffic, build up your business, and then go for those bigger keywords. So speaking of keywords that we can rank for now, my favorite tool for identifying those is Google Search Console. This is my Bible when it comes to ranking, and that's because it's data straight from Google. It shows you what people typed into Google search, where you showed up, and how many people clicked you for a given term, and what page they landed on. You get all the good stuff. Now, the other tool you might use for this kind of information would be a rank tracker. We just looked at a Google Maps rank tracker, and we'll look at a traditional rank tracker in a little bit. But this tool gives you data that I think is way more valuable than those because it's actual traffic. Rank trackers have a lot of things that make them less than perfectly accurate, where this is the exact number of visits you're getting from Google search. So if you haven't already set up Google Search Console for your business, do that right now. It's super easy. Just Google it. I won't go into it in this video. Adam was nice enough to give me access to his Google Search Console so we can see this data. And he has verified it on the URL level. What does that mean? Well, it means that he's verified the www version of the website. Now you can also verify on the domain level, which gives you all the data from the www version or the non-www version. Now, normally this isn't a big deal, but sometimes you want both. And this is one of those times. As you can see, we have all the data going back to November of 2023. And here are those gains that I was talking about before. We'll show those in a little bit. But then the traffic drops to 0. So what happened there? Well, it seems that Adam has switched over from the www version to now the non-www version being his primary domain. And that's fine, they'll redirect over. It's important to note that Google does see those as different pages. So sometimes when you make that switch, you will see a temporary drop in ranking, but it's not a big deal. The only problem is we're now missing the data since that switch was made. Now, fortunately, it's only a few days worth of data, and hopefully Adam can verify at the domain level. But this is why I always encourage you, if you can, verify Google Search Console at the domain level. You just need to have access to your domain hosting, and it's really easy to set up. So now that we have this data, what can we do with it? Well, we can see what terms are bringing traffic to Adam's website. And no surprise, of the 385 clicks, 127 of them are for Mighton Construction. Okay, so this is what we call a branded term, and you're going to rank #1 for your own name no matter what. If you're not, then you have a bigger issue than SEO. There's something technically wrong. But typically, if someone searches for your company by name, unless your name is the general contractor, you're going to show up for that term. So this is not SEO traffic. Even though it's coming from Google search, it has nothing to do with SEO, right? So typically we would filter out that traffic. We could just add a query filter and show anything that's not containing something like, I would just say might, just in case they misspell it. And then we get the rest of the traffic. However, once you add a query filter, Google only shows you about half the data. So if we can do it without a query filter, we'll do that. But as you can see from this graph now, he really was not getting much non-branded traffic until recently. So he has gotten a lot of traction in terms of non-branded traffic, at least compared to historically. So this might not seem like a lot of traffic, but it is a sign that what he's doing now is working. And we'll talk about some of that in a little bit. So removing that filter, let's go ahead and look at what pages Google is showing in their search results. No surprise, the very top page is his home page, and then followed by his Google Business Profile. Now, how do I know this is Google Business Profile? Well, because he's put some UTM parameters on here. Probably heard this from another SEO. Good job, Adam. And this shows where the traffic came from. This is actually for Google Analytics, but it helps in Google Search Console too, because we can see, even though it goes to the home page, because these parameters are ignored by the browser, it sends this data to Google Search Console Analytics, letting us know that 150 of these visits went to the Google Business Profile. And then the next highest page is blank-2. Let's see what this is. It seems like a URL slug that was supposed to be changed, but was not. Oh, it's no longer available. So this page was getting traffic, and we can actually see what it was getting traffic for by clicking into it and looking at the queries. It was all branded terms. We do have one, bathroom renovations Wasaga Beach. So Google, for some reason, thought that this page was relevant for bathroom renovations. My guess is this was a bathroom renovations page. And then Adam realized that the URL slug was blank-2, and he changed the URL. That's fine, but when you do that, you want to set up a redirect. Now, first and foremost, my advice is to leave URLs alone when you can. But if you have to change a URL, set up a redirect from the old one to the new page. So you just want to redirect blank-2 to bathroom renovations page. And that way, Google knows, hey, this page still exists. It's just over here. And any authority that page had before will get moved to the new URL and will help it rank. So after that, we see their kitchen renovation page, their custom home page, their portfolio, and then some blog posts. So we're going to look at all these. We're going to talk about why they aren't ranking higher and what he could do to get the rest of the pages to rank higher as well. Let's first talk about what Adam is doing well on the homepage. First of all, his H1. This is probably the most important text on your entire website. It's what Google is going to use to determine what your website is about. There are many other factors to look at as well, but this is the easiest to change and the most important. And he has done a great job of getting his main keyword right at the beginning of the H1, custom home builders, and then he has a secondary keyword, general contractors, and Importantly for him, he has his local modifier, Wasaga Beach. So that is a perfect H1. I wouldn't change it at all. His meta title is also really good. The only thing I might change about the meta title is getting Wasaga Beach in there. That'll give you an edge on anyone who's searching from or about Wasaga Beach. Also, right at the top of the page, he has his phone number, and that scrolls with you down the page. It's click to call, which is great. He has a contact us call to action right at the top. That's great. And then he talks about the company. And this is really good. The next thing I would add that's not on the page is just his primary services. So he does have the find our list of services here. He has the services drop down, but having a summary of your main services with a link to the page that talks about that service on your homepage sends a strong signal to Google that these are the important pages on our website. So Google's going to look at your website and they're going to look at all the links. They're going to look at the text in the link and they're going to look at what page they point to. And that's going to help Google understand the structure of your website, but also what the most important pages are. But not all links are equal. Links in the footer or in the navigation bar aren't treated the same as links on the page. And a link from your homepage on the actual page carries the most weight out of any link on your website. So you want to make sure those really important pages are linked somewhere here, preferably surrounded by text about the term you're trying to rank for and coming from the text that you really want to rank for. So if we had a service grid here, we could have custom home builders, general contractor, kitchen remodel, whatever the 3 to 6 main services are, and then from the word custom home builder, those words would link to the page we're trying to rank for that. Now that page in this case might be the home page. It probably is, but we still want a page for each service. It's just anywhere else on the website you mentioned custom home builder, you'd want to link to the home page here. And he has done a really good job of internal linking. Actually, these are not links. These are just bold text. So I would definitely add some internal links there. Bold text may or may not help. SEOs will disagree on that. But he does have some internal links here, and I know he does at the bottom of the page. And I've seen some of his other pages. He's doing a good job with that internal linking. So again, anytime you mention the topic of another page, you want to link from that text to that page. He has some FAQs here. This is just to get text on the home page. And I think he's probably hoping to rank for these terms. Although it's unlikely that this page will rank for these specific questions. And so my recommendation is, if it's just important information that someone wanted to have, put it on the service page or the about page that's about that topic, and it'll give more topical authority to that page. If it's a question that you actually want to rank for in Google, make it a blog post. Any informational queries that you want to rank for should be blog posts, because that's what Google shows. Google will never rank an FAQ page unless you're specifically searching for an FAQ page, which people don't do. When people are typing questions, Google is much more likely to show a blog post all about the answer to that question than an FAQ page. When it's talking about specifically about the services that Mike Construction offers, great. Homepage or about page is a great place for that. What's the process for building a custom home with Mike Construction? This could be a blog post, or if it's really about the company, it's fine here. Free consultation's fine here. So anything about the company is great. But when we're talking about general informational questions, make it a blog post. The next section here is something we do on all of our clients' websites, which is just list all the cities and neighborhoods that you serve. This will make it more likely that you rank for these, but more importantly, it gives you a place to link to each of these pages as you build them out. And that is something that Adam has done very wisely. If you click on some of these links, like Wasaga Beach, it brings you to a page all about Wasaga Beach. Now, while service area pages are great, I don't think this page is actually helping Adam very much. And that's because it's not targeting a specific unique keyword. Wasaga Beach custom home construction and renovations is the same keywords he's targeting on his homepage. But also, this page is formatted more like an informational article and less like a service page. So my recommendation, when you're making a service area page like this, pick one service that you're optimizing it for, and then build it the same way you would build your service pages, which is often going to be very similar to how you build your homepage. You want it to look like a transactional page from a company, not an informational blog post. So after seeing those pages, it was no surprise to me that those pages actually get no traffic right now. You can see we have a page filter for locations and a URL with that, and those location pages are not currently showing up in Google. However, there are some other service pages that are ranking, and let's take a look at why that is. If you look in their main navigation bar under custom homes, they have a custom home page for Wasaga Beach, Collingwood, and Clearview. So these are targeting very specific terms, and as you can see, they have their main search term right in their H1, custom home builder in Wasaga Beach. And then they have a little tagline. And this is the way to do it. If you want to get the tagline in there with some branding, put it after your main keyword. And then you get kind of the best of both worlds. So this page is targeting a specific keyword. It's built like a service page or a home page, exactly what Google likes to rank when people are doing transactional searches in Google. And let's see how much traffic it gets from Google. So we can just put a page filter in Google Search Console, looking for URLs that have custom homes in them. Hit apply. We can see we've had 3 clicks and 1,800 impressions to pages with custom homes. An impression just means that the URL showed up in Google's search results and someone may or may not have clicked on it. Now this isn't a lot, but remember we're dealing with a very small amount of traffic, and so it's showing that Google is at least showing it in their search results. If we look at the actual pages, this isn't the page we just looked at. So let's see what this page is. Another page has been removed from the website. So again, this is probably an old version of that page. And so the best thing to do here is, of course, set up a redirect from this to the new page. So let's back up a little bit and just talk about overall content strategy. Once you have a website, you want to start building these pages so they can rank in Google, but you needed some kind of system to prioritize which pages to build first. So the first thing you want to do is build your homepage. Make sure all the most important information about your company is on there. Make sure you have your main keywords in the H1 and your meta title. And then after that, you want to make sure you have one really kick-ass page for every service that your company offers. And so Adam has started to do that. If you go under services, you can see he has ICF homes, which is a term I learned doing this research, basement renovations, kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations. So these are each of the services he offers. I think what he's missing here is a page for general contractor and custom homes. Now you might say, well, those aren't services. Those are groups of services, or that's a job title. But they are things that someone searches for, and they search for them as if they're a service. And so everything we're creating, of course, is for Google. And so we want to think about it in terms of how people search. So when someone searches for general contractor Wasaga Beach, Google's going to go out there and try to find all the most relevant content. And if your competitor has a page called general contractor Wasaga Beach and you do not, they're going to win by default. So all of your main services or all your main search terms should have their own page. Now, if you have 2 terms that essentially mean the exact same thing, it's typically best to still just have one page and mention both those terms somewhere on the page. Google generally understands synonyms. Having the exact term does give you a slight benefit, but you can kind of just have them both on there. Let's go ahead and look at one of these service pages for Adam. We have this ICF construction. So the H1 is build stronger, smarter, and more efficient with ICF construction. Now let's see if you've been paying attention. What is wrong with this H1? You guessed it. We don't have our main search term right at the front of the H1. Now, that being said, SEO isn't everything. Sometimes I like to think it is, but branding, image, these things matter too. So you might decide that, hey, I know I'm not going to rank as well, but it's really important to me that my brand is represented first and foremost. And some of our clients choose to do that. If you have a lot of other sources of traffic, if search is just one small portion of your traffic, you might choose to prioritize brand over search. But if the goal is to rank, we want our main search term right at the front of the H1. And in this case, that would appear to be ICF construction. However, there's a problem here. Sometimes what you call your service is not what people are searching for in Google. And that seems to be the case with ICF construction. I had a hunch that this was true, and so I did a test. And this is how you can test it for yourself. Take what you think is the main term and put it into Google. Go ahead and just search for ICF construction. And then you want to see, is Google returning results that are like the page you're trying to rank? So here we have ICF construction, everything you need to know. That is an informational article. That is not a transactional page. It's someone who's looking for more information. And then we have Reddit, pros and cons, informational, videos, pros and cons, time lapse. These are informational. We've got things to know, more informational. So what Google is showing us here is that when people type ICF construction into Google, they're generally not looking to hire someone. They're looking for information. And so you will never be able to rank a transactional page for this term. Google has already decided people want informational articles, they want Reddit, they want videos. It is a losing game trying to rank for this term. So instead, what you can do is you can go to keyword tool. Well, you could just guess. And sometimes guessing is a completely valid strategy. If you go to keyword tool, here I have Ahrefs pulled up. It's my favorite. Ahrefs, I think it's called Ahrefs. And I've just put in the term ICF construction. And we can see who else ranks for this term. And more usefully, we can also see the parent topic. So the parent topic tells us, of the pages that rank for this term, what term brings them most of their traffic. And so what we want to do is we want to find a company who is like our client, who gets traffic from this term, and then figure out what term they get most of their traffic from. So we already know that ICF Construction is only showing informational articles. But if we scroll down, we can probably find one from someone looking for a service. And here we have ICF Construction near me. Clearly, that person's not looking for information. If you're typing near me, you're looking for a service. And then over here, we can see that the parent topic for people who get traffic for construction near me is ICF contractors near me. So then we can try ICF contractors. Now you could try to optimize for the term ICF contractors near me. That makes for some kind of awkward wording on your page, but it can work. But ICF contractors seems to be much less likely to deliver informational articles. Let's test it by searching it in Google and seeing what gets returned. And right at the top, we have Google Maps listing, which means Google knows we're looking for businesses. And then we have an about page for a company. We do have some videos, but best contractors, clearly Google knows we're looking for a company now. So that is much more likely to be a term you want to target. Now you could spend a lot longer on keyword research, of course. We at least know that starting this H1 with ICF contractors with Saga Beach is much more likely to bring in traffic than the current H1. And this is also the perfect example of a subservice that you could start with before you have the authority to rank for your main keywords. Anytime you can identify one service, or in this case, one type of service that you're specialized in, that you really want to push, it's going to be a lot easier to go for that smaller target and then build outwards than it is to start with your main search term. So putting a lot of emphasis on ICF contractor is one possible strategy for getting some search traffic right out of the gate. So that's the first step of building a nice service page, is make sure you know what keyword you're trying to rank for. Make sure it's in your title, preferably right at the front. After that, you just want to make sure you're providing all the information a searcher might want to have before they contact you about this service. And Adam's done a good job of that. On all of his pages, he has strong calls to action sprinkled throughout the page. He has sections talking about each different part of the service and why mining construction is the best fit. He links to his other pages. All of this is really good. Now, for most companies, we recommend also including pricing on the page. And a lot of business owners don't like to do that, right? They want to get on the phone call, they want to explain their pricing. But the thing is, the people who you're going to turn off by showing your pricing weren't going to be your client anyways. And there might be some exceptions, but you'll attract a lot more people who would have called you if only they'd known what your pricing is. And the other advantage you have from an SEO point of view is if someone is searching for the price of something, if someone is searching for kitchen renovation pricing and you have that on your website, but your competitor does not, you will rank for those terms by default. It's the only way to rank for those terms is to actually show pricing on your page. That being said, for a general contractor, it probably doesn't make sense. The pricing just varies too much, and people would not even expect to see pricing on a page like this. So I would say overall, Adam's doing a really good job with the content on these service pages. All right, back to our overall content strategy. We've now built an awesome homepage. We have a page for each one of our services that targets a specific keyword and has all the information someone might want to have before booking someone for that service. The next thing to do is to find all the subcategories and modifiers that someone might include when looking for a service. So this includes things like we just talked about with ICF construction. It also includes these service area pages we were talking about, where you make pages that are optimized for specific areas. It also includes types of your service. So you might have like a modern kitchen renovation page or a rustic kitchen renovation page. And it might seem silly or even spammy to have all of these pages, but keep in mind, people are only going to see the page that surfaces to them. You're not going to put all these pages in your main navigation bar. Instead, you're just going to link to them where it makes sense. So if you have a custom homepage for each one of these areas, then on the custom homepage, you can link to the area specific page for each of those. Same with kitchen renovation. You can link from the kitchen renovation page to modern kitchen renovations and rustic kitchen renovations. But most people are going to find these in Google's search results when people have very specific searches, even though it might seem spammy. Our advice right now, and what we're doing for most of our clients, is just building out every variation of a keyword that someone actually searches for. That part's important. You need to make sure people are actually searching for this. But if they are, even if it's just a few people a month, that's a page you can throw up and grab those few clicks, because your competitors probably not going to build that page. And you can do this really quickly if you do what Adam's done here and you templatize the pages. So you make one template that you can use for each of your service pages. You can even use that same template for your service area pages, and you're just going to change out the images, the heading, and of course the text. But that's easy to do these days with large language models. Use ChatGPT, use Claude, use something to help you write the text. Now you still want to review it yourself. You want to make sure you're giving all the important information to the large language model. You shouldn't post anything on your website that you're not proud of someone actually reading. But when you have to spin up a lot of content, give it the important information and let it help you out. And if you're interested in a video just about how to do that, let me know. I'd be happy to make a video like that. But as far as content goes, that's just the winning strategy right now. And that's a quick aside. The best way to identify terms that you could be getting traffic for, but maybe aren't necessarily yet, is to look at the impressions in Google Search Console. So if you go to queries here, and then you sort by impressions, look at the terms that give you the most impressions, regardless of whether or not you're getting clicks. So you can see Mine's getting, of course, their name, but then bathroom renovations, Wasaga Beach, basement renovations, Wasaga Beach, kitchen renovations, general contractor, Wasaga Beach. Some of these they're getting traffic for, but a lot of them are not. However, impressions means that they are showing up in Google for those terms, which means they're ranking high enough that people are seeing them. And if they were to rank higher, they would actually be getting traffic for those terms. So this is my favorite way to prioritize what pages you build first. Then for prioritizing what service areas you go after, I recommend making a list of all the areas you're considering. Thankfully, Adam has already done this for us on his website. You can then use a tool like ChatGPT or Claude here and ask it to put these terms into a pipe-separated string for regex and just paste all those areas you've identified. These could be neighborhoods, they could be towns, and then they will give you something that you can put into Google Search Console. Just copy this. Then in Google Search Console, hit Add Filter, Query, Custom Regex, Matches Regex, paste that string in there, and it'll find all the terms that have at least one of those names in it. And then you can start going through and we can see Wasaga Beach, definitely the number one, which they clearly know, then Collingwood. But then if we keep going, we can see Blue Mountain, Elmvale. So these are terms that they're getting impressions for, even though they aren't targeting those pages specifically. Stainer, Elmvale, Barry. Now they have these words on their homepage, but there's no page about these. And those are the biggest opportunities. If you're showing up in Google search for terms that you don't have a page targeting, imagine how well you could rank if you had a page all about that term. So this is the best way to find those hidden gems you could be getting traffic for. Now, if you've listened to a lot of SEOs, you might be wondering at this point, why haven't I mentioned blog posts? Let's talk about blog posts. Adam's actually done a really good job with the blog. If you look at some of these posts, they're in depth, they have graphic elements, they have tables. There's some really well put together articles. I'm guessing he used a large language model, but that's fine. As long as it has good information, as long as it has unique insights from Adam, and I think these do, these can rank really well. However, there's a few issues with blog posts and a few reasons why we don't do a lot of them. One is they don't rank for transactional terms. So here you can see this blog post is probably targeting basement renovations in Wasaga Beach. Problem is, someone searching Google for basement renovations in Wasaga Beach isn't looking for a blog post. If they were, they wouldn't include Wasaga Beach in the search, right? Someone who's including the location in the search is clearly looking for a service. And so it's going to be much easier to rank with a transactional page. Now, it just so happens that Adam actually does rank number one for this term with a blog post. But that's only because there are no other pages targeting this exact search term. Other than that blog post, they are all transactional pages and of course the map pack. And so this really more than anything just shows the power of targeting a search term that no one else is targeting exactly. And that's why it can be so powerful to build one targeted page for every search term someone might type into Google. And that, in summary, is why we don't put a lot of time into blog posts. Because typically, the kind of traffic we're going to get from blog posts is people looking for information. And especially if you're a local business, it's probably not even going to be people in your area. It's going to be people all over the world looking for information. They're very unlikely to become a customer or a client of yours, especially since they're on an informational article. You're not going to have calls to action sprinkled throughout the page. You're not going to be talking about your company. You're providing information. So there's not a lot of value there. One exception where blog posts can be really powerful is if there are informational questions about your area. So for example, one of our clients is a real estate school. They have a high-performing blog post called How to Get Your Real Estate License in Nevada. So because the process of getting your real estate license is different in every state, and they can help anyone get their real estate license in Nevada, that actually does convert very well for them. But other than any opportunities that might exist for your specific business with high converting blog topics, there's really only two benefits to having blog posts, and they both require the blog to do very well. So if you have a blog that ranks nationally or around the world for a high traffic term and you're getting thousands, maybe tens of thousands of visits to it, then you will probably get some links to that post. And we're going to talk about backlinks in a little bit. But Google looks at these links to determine which websites are authoritative. So if you have a lot of blog posts getting links to it, that can make your website look more authoritative. And the second benefit comes after the first one. If you get those links, then you can add, as Adam has here, inbound links from the blog post to the pages you really want to rank. So now this blog post has a lot of authority in Google, and every time you mention one of your services, you're linking to that service page, and it can help those service pages rank. So we still do build blog posts from time to time, but it's times where we feel like we could really create the best article on the internet for a given search term that's relevant to our client. Because if we're not getting a ton of traffic, if we're not ranking in the top 3 for a big keyword, that time would be much better spent creating a new service page, service area page, or other page targeting a specific keyword. And that brings me to the last factor that I would like to talk about in terms of what would help Adam rank and maybe you, and that is links. So this is another page on the internet linking to your website. Also related to links are mentions. So if someone just mentions your name, preferably with your address and phone number, Google can usually pick up on that, and it's treated kind of like a link. No one really knows exactly how valuable it is compared to a link. Links are definitely the gold standard, but any mention seems to help some. But typically you're going to focus on links, and the easiest kind of link to get is a citation. So a citation is actually just a mention of your name, address, and phone number. But typically when you're building citations, you're also getting links, at least if you're building them in trusted directories, which is what we're going to talk about here. So this is BrightLocal again. It's what we use to build citations. They charge about $2 if you do it in bulk. And we'll get our clients into 50 or so of the top directories online. And as you can see, Adam's already done a really good job. I don't know if he used BrightLocal, but just checking BrightLocal's list of citations, he's in most of them. And this is rare. Most of the time when we bring on a client, they haven't done this. So Adam's really done his homework getting into these directories. Now, what I can't see here is how many directories he's in that are specific to his industry, because a tool like BrightLocal will get you into the main directories, but every industry will have some subdirectories, and every city will have some subdirectories. Getting into those industry directories and those city directories can also help. Why does all this matter? Mostly for Google. Now, don't get me wrong, occasionally someone will go to one of these directories and they'll search for a business, and it's nice to be in there. And some of these directories like Apple Maps are really starting to pick up and could become close to as important as Google is. But the main reason why we get into all these other directories is because Google checks those directories, and they expect an established business to be in a lot of them. So especially when you're first starting out, getting in all these directories can help a lot. Also, anytime you do a round of citations, you'll tend to see kind of a bump in traffic that goes away after a while. So there are black hat techniques of just littering your name, address, and phone number on a bunch of spammy websites every once in a while to push you back up in the rankings. I don't recommend doing that. For the long-term health of your business, I recommend just getting into trusted directories. That being said, anyone can submit their business to an online directory, and Google knows that. It's easy. So there's not a lot of weight put on those citations. They're $2 each, so you might as well do it. But Google understands that Truly established websites that have authority online that people trust are going to also have links and mentions for more established websites that don't let you just submit your website and get a free link. And that's where other forms of backlinks can be really useful. So this is Ahrefs backlink checker, and it shows us the backlinks they've found, and they find most of them, not all of them, that are pointing to Mighton. And so there's 16 groups of backlinks, which typically means about 16 domains. Most of these, however, are not counted as backlinks by SEOs, by Google. And that's, as you can see, anything with the word link in it, anything with the word SEO in it, these are companies who are linking to you in the hopes that you use a tool like this, see their URL, and then buy their services. So these are services that are selling links. Just ignore them. Google ignores them. You don't have to worry about them, but they're not really being counted as links. But then we do have like profilecanada.com, Wasaga Builders Constructions Co. These are those directories I was talking about before. And it looks like Adam's done his work, or maybe they just noticed him organically, and he is in some of these industry-specific directories, so that's going to help him a lot. The Wasaga Chamber, that's really good. Getting into Chamber of Commerce, getting into Better Business Bureau, any of these trusted organizations, especially the ones that don't let anyone in, can really help. However, the most valuable links don't come from lists or directories at all. They come from other organizations recommending you on their website. And there's really two ways of going about this. There's the organic way and there's the paid way. So of course there are companies out there, you can pay them money. We do this for our clients, and they will find websites that Google trusts, that Google likes, that will link back to your website. And this is often worth doing. You just have to be careful about it. A lot of these companies will get you links from websites that Google doesn't like. And best case scenario, most of the time, Google will just ignore those links and they'll do absolutely nothing. The worst case scenario is that they work and then Google notices, and then you can get a penalty, which could be devastating for a business. So you do want to be careful when you're hiring a company to do these links for you. However, we always recommend going the organic route first. And what does that look like? Well, we have a brainstorming exercise. Let me know if, and I could make a video on that, where we just help our clients identify all the existing relationships they have. You could do this yourself, maybe with ChatGPT, but we just have a list of prompts that help them think of all the partners they have, vendors, people that work in their company that have their own website, and they can usually come up with 5, 10 organizations out there that would be happy to link to them from a blog post that we wrote for them, or a testimonial that we gave to them, or an offer that we gave to their audience, or a partners page they have. And these links are typically going to be very valuable because they're from established, trusted companies that are relevant to your company, and they're free. Instead of having to pay $500, $1,000 or more for a trusted link, you're just asking for it. So that's always, I think, the best place to start. That being said, for a small local service business, 2 or 3 links can go a long way. Most of your competition is not building links at all, and you can actually dominate an area without doing any of this link building. And as you grow, you'll organically start to get mentions and links online. All right, that was a lot. So why is Adam's website not ranking as well as it could, and what are the main takeaways for you? Make sure some version of the term you're trying to rank for is in the title of your Google Business Profile. Make sure your Google Business Profile is in the best primary category. Try to get as many reviews as possible on your Google Business Profile. Getting to 10 is especially useful. Create a high-quality web page for each common search term someone uses when looking for your services. Make sure your business is listed in all relevant directories. Identify and reach out to all established relationships who have a website that might be willing to link back to you. If you feel like I missed anything important, please leave a comment below. And once again, if you have a website and you would like me to audit it, I am taking requests. Please let me know. I would love to look at your website and tell you what I think you could do to rank better in Google. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.